What's up, everybody? Welcome to Outlaw Sports with Jesse and John. As you guys can see here, I'm going to be your host today, Jonathan Neckbeard Lewis, going over a huge recruitment list here. What's it for? As you guys can see above me, it's for the Alabama Cold Summer Cookout. It's going to be a cookout happening in Tuscaloosa this weekend on July 28th. What I wanted to do is get on here and talk about some recruits that are going to be on campus in Tuscaloosa. Why is this so important to talk about right now? Well, for a multitude of reasons. The number one reason to me is because all I kept hearing when Kalen Deboer showed up in Tuscaloosa is how Alabama will not be able to recruit to Nick Saban's level. Now, this may be true over the course of a lifetime of Kalen Deboer being in Alabama, but in the short time, that is not looking like the case here. And I'm going to get into why, and like I said, go over some of these recruits in the 2026 class and 2027 that will be attending this Cold Summer Cookout in Tuscaloosa. But either way, right now, Kalen Deboer has the number 2 class, only behind Ohio State, compositely, according to 24/7 Sports, only behind Ohio State. So that's number 1. Number 2, Kalen Deboer is looking like he is going to turn Alabama and continue this machine of recruiting into the 2026 and even 2027 class. Guys, some of the names on here are incredible that they're even showing up in Tuscaloosa. A lot of these names, in my opinion, were kind of a surprise. Well, a few of them were kind of a surprise to show up to Tuscaloosa because they're heavy favorites somewhere else. But either way, it seems like Kalen Deboer is getting the benefit of the doubt now, right? He's built a great staff, a great recruiting staff, and a great development staff. And people are starting to pay attention. And this machine called, Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa may not be slowing down anytime soon like people hoped so. So either way, let's go ahead and jump into this. I just got some information off of 24/7 Sports, which was released about 50 minutes ago. I think it's Gret Thornburg was the one that released this information himself. So with that being said, Alabama will host all their 5 stars from the 2025 class at this cookout. I'm talking about Keelan Russell, right? The flip from SMU. Quarterback. Now it's going over to Alabama. Ty Haywood, the offensive tackle. Caleb Cunningham, the wide receiver, and Dejon Lee, the cornerback. And yes, I have a list here because the list is so freaking long here. All right, so I'm going to bring up 9 recruits that are attending this Cold Summer Cookout for the 2026. And, it's 8 of the 2026 class, 1 of the 2027 class. Yes, Kalen Deboer is recruiting them out that far already. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. Like I said, 9 will be attending this listed on here. And I'll be talking just briefly about all of them. The first one we're going to talk about is 5-star number 3 quarterback Ryder Lyons out of Folsom, California. Now, remember, guys, I use the composite system, not the national system. So if you go on 24/7 Sports, they have 2 systems, composite and national rankings. I do use the composite. So either way, Ryder Lyons here out of Folsom, California. So once again, what does that tell you right away? Kalen Deboer is not letting up on California. He's immediately attacking it once again. He was offered by Nick Saban, which is our offensive coordinator, and also QB coach as well. He did play at the same high school as Austin Mack and did train. Well, obviously, people know if you're an Alabama fan, Austin Mack transferred from Washington with Kalen Deboer. And they did play at the same high school and were friends. So once again, Kalen Deboer and this staff, smart. You have to use the connections of these recruits, right? Let the recruits recruit for you. Moving on here, 5-star and number 1 athlete, Brandon Arrington, Spring Valley, California. So much for this wall Lincoln Riley built up around California, right? Kalen Deboer is tearing that down himself. Right now, in the 2025 class, I believe 6 players are from California, which is the number 1 state recruited from Alabama, right? Alabama has, I think, 5 in Alabama that we got and 6 from California. Think about that for a little bit. He was recruited as a wide receiver at Alabama, and he was offered by Jamarcus Shepard, who is our co-offense coordinator and wide receivers coach. Moving on here, 5-star, number 1 offensive tackle, Jackson Cantwell out of Nixon, Missouri, was recruited heavily by Saban, but he had to be re-offered, right, by Kalen Deboer and Chris Kaplovic. Sorry if I got the name wrong. I'm struggling with this name for some reason. Our offensive line coach. But yes, he was heavily recruited by Nick Saban and that staff. And it looks like Kalen Deboer, they did reevaluate him and they re-offered him as well. 5-star number 1 edge, Anthony Jones from Mobile, Alabama. So their first big recruit, right, coming out of the state of Alabama. Recruited by Kane Womack, defense coordinator, obviously. And Christian Robinson, our linebackers coach, which you would heavily expect there. Right now is expected to go to Auburn, but that could change at any moment, right? We're talking about 2026. This is a ways out, and they said that yes, he's leaning towards Auburn right now, but this is going to be a very close battle between, they believe, Alabama and Auburn when it comes down to it. The closer we get to these recruits. So moving on here, 4-star and number 5 cornerback Zyan Gibson out of Gadsden, Alabama, right down the road from where I'm from, which is Anniston, Alabama. He was actually offered directly from Kalen Deboer. Now, this is the first time I've heard Kalen Deboer directly offering a scholarship to somebody. Let me know if you guys have heard of anybody else he's done this to. But it looks like Kalen Deboer is really after this guy. He's friends with freshman defensive back Drake Patrick Jr. at Alabama. Obviously, everybody knows his father, Drake Patrick, has a lot of connections to Alabama, grew up an Alabama fan. So I believe a lot of people are going to be expecting him to be crystal balling towards Alabama for a very long time. But look, let's not get our hopes up. We've seen this all too often, how this stuff goes. Moving on here, 5-star and number 2 linebacker Xavier Griffin out of Gainesville, Georgia. From Alabama, and said he grew up a Tide fan, but right now it's favored to go to Georgia, and a lot of that has to do with, well, the proximity of him to Georgia, Kirby Smart and that staff being able to recruit him on a consistent basis. But this is another recruit. They said that yes, he's favored to go to Georgia, but a lot of that has to do with proximity right now. They do believe he's going to open up and give Alabama and other teams a chance. With that being said, moving on here, 5-star number 1 safety Blaine Bradford from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm not trying to make this a 20-minute video, so I'm going to run through this as fast as possible, guys. 3-star number 29 interior lineman Desmond Green out of St. Stephen, South Carolina. This dude is 6'4.5" and 354 pounds. Yeah, in case nobody's been paying attention, Kalen Deboer is trying to do one thing here. He's getting the biggest trench guys he could find on the defensive line and the offensive line. It's clear as day he's trying to bulk up the offensive line. And then we also have the class of 2027 recruit, edge rusher Barack Willis. There's no rankings for that right now. He is out of Moody, Alabama, which is also, once again, right down the road from where I'm from. He's at 6'3", 220 pounds, and Alabama is really attacking him already. Yeah, that is pretty much everybody. There's going to be a host of other 2025 recruits, by the way, other than the 5-stars. It was just highlighted that all the 5-stars from the 2025 class will be hosting there at this Cold Summer Cookout, and along with a host of other 4 and 5-stars, obviously from the 2026 class and 2027 class, bringing in Barack Willis. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun time in Tuscaloosa this weekend, July 28th. I'm assuming if you're around, you guys are going to be able to hit the streets, get around the campus and find some of these guys walking around. But either way, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you guys like watching videos pertaining to this. College football, obviously, SEC, Alabama, Oklahoma, all that good stuff. Other than that, you guys have a good day. And as always, Neckbeard out.